And so
Uncharted has a little bit more character development than Mortal Kombat, where it's all about developing your fists and your finishing moves.
That's fair. Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-hosts, Mattson.
Better read than dead.
And Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate your help growing the podcast by hitting that follow or subscribe button. Tell a friend about us. Also, go and leave us a review. You can do it at Apple Podcasts, Podchaser. Oh, you can do it at Spotify now, too. So leave us a review. We love those 5-star reviews. Honestly, it's the best way to help us grow the podcast, so we do appreciate that. Also, make sure you go check out our website, whatsourverdict.com, where you can see all of our episodes, our new episodes coming out, all sorts of fun stuff. So go take a look at the website as well. Question we always ask is if you ever find yourself wondering if you should spend the time, money, or both on a movie. To help with that question, each week we put a movie on trial, discuss the facts, pass judgment, and let you know our verdict. Today we're reviewing Uncharted. It was released February 18th, 2022. It was written by Rafe Judkins and Art Markham. It was directed by Ruben Fleischer. It stars Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, Sophia Ali, Tati Gabriel, Rudy Pankow, Stephen Waddington, and Antonio Banderas. Street smart Nathan Drake is recruited by seasoned treasure hunter Victor Sullivan to recover a fortune amassed by Ferdinand Magellan and lost 500 years ago after being hidden from the House of Moncada. If you haven't seen this movie and you want to avoid spoilers, you can go check out our spoiler-free review on YouTube with the link down in our show notes. You can also pause the podcast at this point, go watch the movie, and come pick up where you left off, because we're about to spoil the shit out of this thing. So let's deep dive Uncharted.
JJ, can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Can you set the scene with our listeners? Because I've only played one of the Uncharted games. I actually want to play the others. Where does this one fit into the video game lore of Uncharted, and kind of set the scene there? Because I don't know myself.
It has been a long time since I've played. So I recently played, they did a spin-off of Uncharted with the 2 female leads, which I was a huge fan of because I love Laura Bailey. If you've never watched Critical Role, these guys play Dungeons and Dragons. You really should, because she's amazing.
Is she the voice actor for her?
So she's the voice actor, not for the Chloe character that you see in the movie, but she's for the most recent video game. So the one that was A Thief's End, which was Uncharted 4. And then there was a game called Uncharted Lost Legacy. And the Lost Legacy was led by the female characters, one of which being voiced by Laura Bailey.
So I played number 4. I'm just trying to figure out which video game this movie based itself off of, or if it's none of them.
Isn't it a couple of them?
Yeah, it's a couple.
There's scenes from like the 3rd game, from the 4th game, little sprinkle of 2 thrown in there every once in a while.
Yeah. In the 3rd game, they did like a flashback to where he was younger and how he met Sully. So that was a big piece that you kind of saw pieces of in this movie. And then most of it, though, I think was based loosely on the 2nd game with some sprinkles of the 1st. But the 3rd's a big one because that's where you find out about Sam and the fact that he's not, big spoiler early on in the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, that Sam's not actually dead. Was the 3rd game, I believe, that you find that out. So, because you spend most of the 1st and 2nd game believing that Sam's dead. But Chloe is, I think, in almost every game he's in, and she's played by Claudia Black, I think, is a voice actor. She's awesome. But Chloe's a great character throughout the games. Like, I was glad to see her being portrayed in the movie, and I think the girl that played her, Sophia Ali, she killed it. She did a great job as Chloe. Really kind of hit the tones of, and they constantly have, like, the games are fun with them because they constantly have this, like, back and forth shit going on, like, where will they, won't they, and like they're betraying each other constantly throughout the game. So then they help each other. It's fun. And I think that's why I was so impressed with this movie. And like I said, in the spoiler free, I was worried because Uncharted, I am a huge Naughty Dog fan. And a lot of people shit on Neil Druckmann, who's like the story lead for most of Naughty Dog's games. Like, he did The Last of Us. He did all the Uncharted games. He's been involved in a handful of other of their games. In fact, I think he's one of the top dogs of Naughty Dog now. But I was worried because the games and the story are so damn good with Uncharted. It's probably one of the best storyline game series out there, period.
Absolutely.
So I was terrified. And, I went into this movie with very low expectations because I was like, they're going to ruin this. Because let's be honest, video games movies also don't have a great history of being good movies. Most of them have been pretty terrible. In fact, we shit on Mortal Kombat not that long ago. I mean, it just doesn't go well. So I was worried because it's one of my favorites. But they did well with this. It was a lot of fun, period. And so
Uncharted has a little bit more character development than Mortal Kombat, where it's all about developing your fists and your finishing moves.
That's fair. Well, and that, and I think that's part of the reason. I think I mentioned it in this point for you that this one translates better. The Uncharted series, I'm excited for the Last of Us TV series that's coming out because the games that Naughty Dog makes, these story-based games, especially the serious ones like this, they're ripe for adaptation into movies and TV shows because the stories are so robust and the character development is so good that it's hard to not, have that translate well. I mean, even their little silly game, they have a game called Jack and Dexter that Naughty Dog, because they don't make a lot of games, Naughty Dog. So the ones that they do make are pretty impressive. So I was happy.
Well, if they keep up what they did with Uncharted, I'll go see every single game or every single movie they make.
Yeah.
Because even just like when they opened, that was the greatest opening scene I've seen in a movie in a very long time. You've got Tom Holland hanging off of a cargo plane with his foot and no context as to how he got there.
Yeah.
And it was just beautiful. I loved it.
Yep. It's very interesting how they chose to start that too. Like I was worried too, because I thought it was going to be very, like when they started that way, it almost felt a little like, jarring when they switch back. But then I really liked the way they worked it, because a lot of movies will, when they do that, they open with a scene and then you get back to that scene eventually. Like they go like a really fast pace back through what you've already seen. And I loved that they switched to Chloe's perspective through most of that to see how the car got thrown off the plane and how they got hit with that crate. It was because she cut that thing loose. So I really liked that they didn't force you to speed through the same thing again, that they actually switched perspectives, because the games do that a lot. That's a very reminiscent of the game. And I think Uncharted 2 starts that way. Either Uncharted 2 or 3 starts in a similar fashion where you start in the middle of the game, basically, and then have to go back and work your way to that. One of them does that, and I don't remember which one it was. It's been so long since I played the first few, but yeah, I'm with you, Alec. I like the way that they started it. And then it just was fun throughout.
I got another question. The scene where they fall out of the plane and they get to the resort, and the person that is like sipping, is that the guy that plays Nathan Drake, the voice actor, or something like that? That's what I figured, but I'm sure you know, JJ.
That's Nolan North. He's the voice of Nathan Drake in the games. He's probably the most sought after voice actor on the planet right now. There's a couple, and Nolan North he's amazing. But when it comes to male voice actors, there's Nolan North. Can't remember the other one. The one that's in Last of Us that plays Joel in The Last of Us that I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but those two are probably the top. But yeah, it was good to see him because that voice is just unmissable. Like you hear him and I was laughing. I leaned over to Casey. I was like, that's the actual Nathan Drake voice. And she goes, okay, that's cool. Like I was some sort of moron for knowing that.
I thought that was cool that they threw him a bone because I figured that's who it was without knowing, but I knew you would know.
Oh yeah. As soon as I saw him when they come walking up on the beach and he's laying there, I was like, that's cool. I was like, good for him. Because I knew, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh yeah, that's Nolan North. There he is.
What does a voice actor like that pull in per year per video game or something? I've always been curious about that.
I don't know. I think it's decent, but I don't they're not like making massive
enough to turn down a cameo in a major motion picture.
Yeah, exactly. And I think here's the thing for him, it's going to be better than most because he's just so sought after. He does, and he can tweak his voice in so many different ways. Like most of them can, but it looks like an average voice actor salary is $76,000 a year.
I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah, no shit. It's not easy to get into that, though.
I'm sure he's making low millions.
Oh, for sure. Well, and the other thing about it, too, that's fortunate and unfortunate is you're starting to see a lot of like A-list actors and even B-list actors get into the voice acting game.
Yeah.
That you didn't see before. It used to be its own kind of world. And now like you start to see these actors because we recognize their voices. And so, you know, it pulls, especially in the animated films, things like that, it pulls a lot of, you know, you start seeing it in video games
there's
too.
some movie that's coming out that Chris Evans is the main voice actor for it. I can't remember because I just saw the preview, but I was like, Chris Evans. I'm like, well, they paid a lot for that.
Yeah, it's Lightyear. He's playing Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, they've started doing it. And even in video games, they've started doing it. Like the guy from The Walking Dead, I can't think of his name he was also in, why can't I think of his name? Anyway, he's one of the big Walking Dead actors. They did a whole video game with his likeness in it, and he did the voice acting. So it's becoming one of those things that's pretty mainstream for actors. It's a good second income, but they make a lot more money because of who they are. They come with a certain status. But like Nolan North and then Laura Bailey, she's unbelievable at voice acting as well. Like something like 500 or 600 credits to her name.
Jeez.
But I think that it requires more talent to me to be a good, solid voice actor, especially in something like Uncharted, where there is so much character development than almost a lot of these actors today have. Because they have all this shit on because they're doing all the mocap and so they have to do it in such a weird circumstance and still make it believable to where you know you're watching something that's completely fake. And so, I don't know. I have a real heavy level of respect for voice actors and what they do.
Hot take there. Common folk, let us know if you agree with JJ or don't agree that voice acting is more difficult than normal acting.
Yeah. Troy Baker, that's the other. And Nolan North are probably the two biggest male voice actors. Matt Mercer's up there. He does the cowboy for Overwatch. So he's another one that does some big stuff. But anyway, back to Uncharted. Tom Holland kills it. I just want to say, like, and I've said this about him a million times because we've watched 3 or 4 of his movies and reviewed them, not just Spider-Man, but this kid has so much charisma on screen. Like, it's hard not to just enjoy watching him perform and see what he does. And he just brings like a likability to every character that he's in. I mean, that he plays. Like, and he was my biggest concern for this because Nathan Drake in the games is so rugged and he's like this. He's an older guy. It's a younger version of Nathan Drake, obviously, than in the games. But so I was concerned, but I thought he killed it. I thought he brought it and he really represented Nathan Drake in a great way. I really enjoyed him. So
I think it's helpful that he's so awkward off screen when he's doing his like interviews. You know, I think he's 25, right?
Yeah, something like that.
You see that when he's just interacting off screen in his interviews, whatever he's doing. You see the dorky kind of awkward kid, but then he gets on screen and he's able to deliver a performance like Nathan Drake flawlessly.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the contrast to where it's like it's work time and then it's, you know, Tom Holland's playtime.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just able to turn it on and off and he can act opposite of pretty much anybody at this point and still take the entire show and be the focal point and be the reason why everybody wants to go back to the movies.
Yeah. And I will say he's gotten quite like in all of the parts that he's played, like he's played up against some serious actors. Like one of his first movies was with Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor in a movie called The Impossible about the tsunami in Asia, in Thailand. That movie, he was a little kid and he played against those guys. And then he's all through Marvel, he's going up against Benedict Cumberbatch. He's going up against, you know, all those guys. I mean, geez, it's just constant, like him having to act
Mads
against
Mikkelsen in Chaos Walking. He's got Robert Pattinson in The Devil All the Time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jake
he's just constantly, he's just constantly in the spotlight and the guy that everybody wants to keep seeing.
Yeah.
He's able to just be incredible and then be goofy and dorky on the side.
Yeah.
It's the dream. It's the dream. He's living the dream.
Yeah, I'm excited to continue to watch
him. From Spider-Man into this movie, just what I've seen most lately with him is his emotional range and depth that has become so much more believable. And I think that's why people really were endeared with the new Spider-Man is because he brings enough charisma for you to like the character, but then he's kind of gone to the next level where he can always get you to like the character, but then he can get you to feel for the character. And I think that's what makes change someone from a good actor to a great actor. And I think he's starting to get to that point where he's always bringing his characters to that level of emotional depth, which is hard to do with someone like him because he will always be someone that gets you to like him, but it's beyond getting surface level. It's getting deeper. It'd be funny to see Tom Holland in like a comedy with his style of acting, because I feel like he could also do that pretty well, just the way he bounces kind of on screen. And I don't think I haven't seen a movie of him in where he kind of leans more into that full forcefully. And now seeing him and Mark Wahlberg, I'd be like, man, they could probably make a pretty good, like, full-blown comedy together as well. But yeah, I've just been really impressed with him. When I think of actors today that really impressed me, besides the one that I've always liked by like Tom Hanks and individuals like Denzel Washington, Tom Holland is right there along with Robert Pattinson with people that have really impressed me.
Yeah. I think it would be fun to watch him. This one's probably as close to a buddy comedy as you can get because there's that funny moments, but like a full-on comedy, I think it'd be great. He's done a lot of animated stuff. Like a lot of people don't even realize he was in them, and they weren't like huge movies, but like he did like Spies in Disguise where it's like The Rock plays like the bird or whatever. And then he did the one Onward, which was a really cool movie. So, I mean, I'd be interested to see him play a live action comedy because he's done a lot of serious roles. And even this one, like, I think that's what impressed me the most is when he got pissed, like, and he starts, when they're in that room where the gold was supposed to be, and it turns out to be like the big pots of salt, and Chloe turns on him. Like when he goes off on Sully in that moment of like, we're going to finish this and whatnot for my brother. And then we're done. Like it's so believable when he gets mad and he gets like serious that it really pays off the fact that you can see like emotionally he's hiding things when he's being funny. And he's got a couple roles like that. But I just think, like you said, his emotional depth and the ability to play off all sorts of emotions is pretty impressive for as young as he is. And I'm kind of sad he's taking a break, but I get it. Don't burn yourself out. But I can't wait to see him come back. Yeah, he's taking a break from acting, but I think he deserves it. The guy's been in fucking so much shit over the last 10, 15 years.
How long do you think he'll be out for? Like a couple of years?
I don't know if it'll be that long.
I mean, he certainly can afford to do that. Let's be honest there.
Sure. I mean, it won't be long.
The moment he wants to come back.
Yeah, it won't be long before Sony and Marvel start calling him again. So it's one of those things where I bet he's got a year or two before he's got to do something serious. But
that's a great life. It's like, look, I'm counting my millions. I've done he could retire now and have a good acting career, but what would he do with his life? But I hope he keeps doing it because I'm trying to think of, at least in my lifetime, he's one of the few actors that I can remember that's got to start pretty young, but really has improved. I think with most every movie he's taken on. Like I can't think of a lot of people like that, at least in my lifetime so far. It's hard to do that.
Yeah, I agree. And if you haven't, I'm serious. Like if you haven't seen The Impossible, you should go watch it. I think it's available on Amazon. He's a little kid. I think he's like 10 or 11 is all in this movie, but he is amazing. And he's not in it a ton, but God, he's so good. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was his first major film. But I was also impressed with Mark Wahlberg. I hate saying that. Like those words taste really gross coming out of my mouth. Like I'm not.
Why do you hate him though?
I don't hate him, but I just like all I see. I'm old enough that all I see is fucking Marky Mark. Like that's all I see is him in fucking underwear and rapping. And I'm just like, I can't. It doesn't fit in my head. And so most of the things that he does, and he plays, to me, the exact same character in every fucking movie. He's got two. So he's got his comedy side, and when he's playing comedy, this is Marky Mark's comedy side. And then he's got a serious role, like where he's playing like who knows, like an action. But there's been very few movies that I've been...
Like The Shooter.
Yeah, fuck. It's just, he has moments where I'm like, okay, that was a great performance. But then he's got some like where it's just terrible. Like in The Departed, he was amazing. Like that part was great. The Fighter, he was great in The Fighter. Like I loved him there. And then you flip to the comedy side and like Ted, one of my favorite movies because it's funny as fuck and he fits that stupid ass, kind of dumb, but really like likable character. But like there's movies where I'm just like, no, didn't work for me. Like Instant Family, The Shooter didn't work. Those Daddy's Home movies, I don't know if you guys saw either of those. That shit didn't work for me either. Yeah, like he's done so many movies where I'm like, nope, it just doesn't work. And
Alec, where are you on the Marky Mark radar?
That's a tough question. I kind of like Mark Wahlberg, but I mean, the first kind of thing I saw him in was The Other Guys with Will Ferrell, which just is hilarious from the buddy cop standpoint. And so I don't mind him. I can tell you that the concern in this household was how he was going to portray Sully.
Yes.
Because in the games, Sully he's an old man.
Yeah.
So it's, Mark Wahlberg is far and away from being as old as Sully is. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I think Mark Wahlberg now is about the age that Nathan Drake is in the games, right?
Yes.
Or close enough to it.
Yep.
So that kind of dynamic, I can tell you, was a great concern in this household. Mm-hmm. But it did come back with some approval. So I want to hear JJ take on how did Mark Wahlberg portray Sully as a character?
So when I got past the no mustache, because that's the other thing that Sully's known for. And they make fun of, you saw the trailer, and if you stayed long enough, you saw like the whole, what's that thing on your face? And, puberty's right around the corner. So I'm glad that they paid homage to that and they brought it around. You just had to wait to see it. And so I was able to forgive the old man thing because they're setting up a sequence of movies. If this one does well, they'll continue to make more of them, which I hope it does well enough that they do, because I did have fun with it. Ooh, I didn't mind his portrayal of Sully once it got going. It was the same way. I was like, oh my God, how's Mark Wahlberg going to play Sully? Sully's an old man. He's grizzled. He's a dick, but he's the sweetheart dick. He's one of those likable dicks. And so it's so hard.
Hence Mark Wahlberg. He's good at doing that.
Well, and he did better than I thought. And that's where I started that whole conversation about Mark Wahlberg, because I'm like, I don't usually like him, but he grew on me in this movie. And I think that says a lot about how he played it, in that I went in thinking I might like this movie, but I'm going to hate Mark Wahlberg as Sully, because Sully is a big part of the games and he's one of the best characters in the games. And so it's one of those things where you're like, oh God, Mark Wahlberg. I was pissed when I heard that that's who they cast, but he grew on me. And after when they go in to steal the cross, by that point, I believed in it. I was like, okay, he's got the essence of Sully, because he'll have these moments where the one thing that Sully does in the game is he'll do something shitty. And then Nathan or Chloe or somebody will call him on it and be, you're such a dick, quit being an asshole. And then he'll make a joke of it, and then you like him again, right? And he plays it, and then he realizes, yeah, I did fuck up. And then he'll do something that redeems himself. So he played that very well, like where he would be a complete asshole. And then you'd see like this regret in his eyes, which I thought was very impressive from Wahlberg. You'd see that on his face, like, shit, I did fuck up. And then he'd be funny again and just like kind of play it off or whatever. But at the end of the day, you can always count on Sully to do the right thing, like he does at the end of this movie, where he hucks the bag of gold, which was
down spiking gold in that dude.
Yeah. So it was, I liked it. I think he won me over, which I didn't expect. I thought I'd come away just completely hating him as that character, but I think he did well, and I'm impressed with how it all played out.
That's hard to do. I mean, change your opinion like that in a couple-hour stint with years of movie build-up telling you why you shouldn't like that person in that role. So congrats, Mark Wahlberg. You have a fan out of JJ out of this one.
At least in this movie. But I will say, Sophia Ali, so the actress that played Chloe, I really enjoyed her in that part, because she's an integral part of the games, like, because she's a piece of almost every game, I think. So it's hard to get through these games, but I believed her from jump. So even in the previews, everything I saw, I was like, I think I'm really going to like her as Chloe. And I did. So I thought she did a great job. But I think who really got shit on, unfortunately, in this movie is Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, dude. Like, what the hell?
Because this dude killed it as this villain for 90% of this movie. And then he gets this unceremonious, shitty fucking death that wasn't even bloody enough for me. Like they slit his throat and there's no blood.
I remember telling Taylor, I was like, this is quintessential PG-13 because you're slashing someone's throat and there's no blood anywhere. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was so mad. I was expecting him to go out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah,
like some sort of booby trap or, shot with an RPG or something like that. Something with the car. He loved that car.
Yeah.
But no, it was just...
I'm assuming he was supposed
really
to die, though, from the video game. Was that supposed to happen?
I do know one of the villains dies in quicksand, so, that could have happened.
Yeah.
But no, he just got his throat slit, and, I was like, oh, cool. I was mad, but the timing for that was perfect because I didn't see his death coming that soon.
Yeah,
I figured he had to die, but I did not see it coming, before they even touched down.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
I don't think that character was in the game. I think that's a character that was for the movie that kind of combined a handful of the villains through the games. Because there's a couple that are like, there's always the overarching rich treasure hunter that's wanting to find more gold or more money within the, but I don't believe that that's a character in a game. I think it's like a combination of a couple of the villains that you face in the games. But yeah, it was just such a boring ass death. I was like, especially because like this dude had this girl kill his dad with him in the car. I'm like, this dude's ruthless and I like it. And Antonio Banderas plays a good bad guy. Like when he's being all shitty and like flamboyant and fun and then he's just like, yeah, I'm going to kill you, dad, because you're a dick. Like I was just like, holy shit. And then for him to just die off screen and then you just see him laying there, I'm like, if I had to guess, that kind of, because one thing I will say about this movie is you can tell the parts where the production was being rushed because of COVID and all the production hell that this movie had a little bit of issues because of what it was and how it was going. There were a couple of parts where near the end where you can tell like they were like, hurry up, we got to get this done. And so like it felt a little forced. And I think that might have been one of those. They probably would have given him a better death, but I think they were trying to just get through the movie. And while I enjoyed that character, that girl, the Braddock, the character played by Tati
really
Gabriel,
do it for me.
She just wasn't, to me, she couldn't carry that character the way it was built up through the movie, couldn't carry the main villain. Like it just didn't work for me. Like the stakes just changed. They weren't big anymore once Antonio Banderas died.
Yeah, I wanted him to still be alive because he was passionate, wanted to restore his family, wanted the money, the greed, and him when those helicopters were dragging the planes out, and I could see him just saying like, I don't care, get over there, and then them shooting the harpoon things to get over there. Like that ludicrousy makes sense because they got a ludicrous rich dude that's telling him to do this, and he's insane. And where the other chick, like it just felt very businesslike and transactional where you didn't have that same allure. So I was hoping he was going to go through that and then die in some sweet way. But yeah, maybe they made those choices, like you said, because of production and time.
Yeah. I think it would have been better if like he at least got on the boats as they're flying, and then like maybe she turns on him at that point and she kicks him off the boat or she uses one of these cannonballs, because that would have been a good enough death for me to be okay with him dying and being betrayed. Like I would have been fine if she betrayed him. I just think it was the wrong time and the fashion was wrong. It just felt there was no value in it. And he was such a good character up until that point that I just felt like it was a waste. So I just thought they could have done it better and make him last a little longer. Like you said, till they're on this big dramatic boat chase scene. And then I just think it would have been a better payoff for his character and all the things.
Because that scene was pretty ridiculous. It was pretty awesome. I was like, this is crazy.
But you know what? It felt just like an Uncharted game scene. Like they do ridiculous shit like that all the time in those games. And so that's why I was watching it going, I normally in a movie would be like, what the fuck? But I can't in this one because I'm like, that's a very Nathan Drake scene. Like that is a very Uncharted situation to be in.
I didn't have any problem. It was just, I was like, I don't even know if those helicopters could do that when you're turning that much and that much weight. I'm pretty sure they ain't gonna work, but it looks cool.
Yeah, for sure. There was definitely some video game feel scenes.
Because those boats would have been unreal heavy with that amount of gold, right?
Oh, for sure. Well, not to mention they would have been so brittle. I mean, these things are 500 years old. Yeah, they would have broke
apart.
Yeah, like the first time it hits one of those islands or whatever, and I don't know that it would have survived being picked up off the ground period, because it's in
I don't think so.
It's in a very moisture heavy area in this cave with water around it. The wood would have been rotted and soft. And I mean, I'm sure it was treated to a certain degree, but I just don't know that either of those boats would have been survived the lift
cool.
out of it. But it looked cool as fuck.
You think of like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
We got.
I did laugh at the Jack Sparrow line. Like, are you done playing Jack Sparrow down there or some shit like that? That was a great one.
It was pretty good. I mean, the other part that was so video game-esque was the cannonball scene where he lines it up to shoot the helicopter. I was like, we'll let it slide because that's a 1 in a trillion shot.
Oh, yeah.
But it looked cool.
Yeah, I really liked that part. I would have put the Scottish guy in charge if it was me.
Ooh, yeah.
Because he was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And I really loved his interactions with Tom Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Where the first time you meet him, he comes out with this real thick Scottish brogue. And Tom Holland has a perfect response of, what?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're saying. Stop saying it. I can't understand you.
They leaned into the joke for like 10 minutes because later on he's got his ass beat and then he's like, stop. I seriously can't understand anything you're saying. It was just the way they played that joke for so long. I liked that a lot. No, I thought it was fun. I thought there was some good tension too. Like when they're going through the tunnel part where the heaven and hell piece where I really enjoyed the setup of everybody's willing to betray everybody in this movie. So you were like, "Ooh, shit, how's this going to go?" And so I thought they really played that off pretty well. I think anybody that's played the video games knew that eventually Chloe was going to turn on him. But I love, too, like the fact that he tricked her, because that is such an Uncharted game thing where he'll send her on the wrong path just to keep her out of danger or whatever, or screw her over, and then see her at the end and she's like, screw you guys, you know what I mean? Or something like that. That's a very typical out of those games. I love the homage they paid to the game while still making an entertaining movie.
That tunnel scene is where I realized that I could never be a treasure hunter because I would have followed all the arrows.
Yeah.
I would have pulled the Tom Holland. Nope, there's an arrow. We should go this way. We need to go this way. Difference is I wouldn't have quick enough reflexes to avoid the spikes, and my treasure hunting career would have been done. But I really enjoyed kind of that playoff because that was where it really felt video gamey to me, but as well as kind of the Indiana Jones spin that Mattson was talking about, the spoiler free, where, you have the booby traps and you have these contraptions that somehow are still functioning for 500 years. Nobody's seen them in Barcelona. Nobody's figured it out or wondered what this big, huge counterweight is or, anything like that with all the construction that goes on in an old city like that.
They're too busy having siesta. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess so. But I really enjoyed that tunnel scene because for me, that's kind of when the movie really picked up and got to speed. You got to see what it was all about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I laughed out loud at the fact that the one keyhole was in a Papa John's behind some weird fucking glass that he had to throw. Like, I literally burst out. I was like, that's funny as shit. Like, he goes, I'm literally standing in a Papa John's right now. I was like, what clever product placement. I'm sure John paid quite a bit of money for that. But
it was pretty, I was like, could it have been like a coffee shop or like a bakery? Like, that would have been more believable. But, be honest, that product placement, that was well played because it made me laugh. I was like, mother effing Papa John's, way to go.
That shit worked for me on so many levels. Like, I was like, this is great. I laughed out loud in the theater. I'm sure people, because nobody was laughing at that shit, but I found that hilarious.
But Alec, you bring up a really good point. I think all of us have seen enough of these movies where there's some historical civilization or group of people in this instance that sets up booby traps. I mean, we've seen the Aztecs all kinds of groups of people that they set up these things. And then you're like, is that gear going to turn 400 years later? Is that spear still going to shoot out of that hole? I would just love to know, treasure hunters of the world, are those things even real? Does that even exist? Or the fact that they built this thing so far in the ground, they didn't think anyone was like, I don't know, like did the Egyptians have booby traps and they probably didn't work 300 years? I don't know. I just wish we could know because it would be cool.
Well, my thing is, like, the guys who built this, their goal was to go back for the gold, like, what,
Yeah.
years?
Yeah.
Why are you building all these booby traps if you're just going to have to be the one who goes through them? Are you really not thinking about going back and getting this gold? Because I think it would take longer to build the booby traps than it would just to wait and go back for the gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Because they're not going to forget how to get there in 10 years.
Yeah, they know where it is. They're the ones who dumped it.
Yeah.
And the whole 2 separate keys things I get, and that was kind of a cool concept where one key goes to the first mate or whatever it was, and the other one goes to the crew, so nobody backstabs the other one. But I was also like, I feel like it'd take longer to set up all your booby traps because Barcelona is a city that's been around for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'd have to be excavating underneath the city, set up their booby traps, and I have to think at some point, someone, like the Moncada family would ask a question like, hey, what are you guys doing down here? What's going on? You guys didn't bring my gold back, but you have plenty of time to root around the city.
Yeah. Well, and wouldn't Papa John's like notice in their basement, like some giant tubs of salt? Like that, I think that's like my other, like I was like, these movies like that, I'm like, there's modern structures above all that stuff. Like at some point, and I say that, but we hear about all the time, like people finding like shit in their basement or whatever. So, I mean, I say that. And I mean, if you're Papa John's, you're not going to be like, well, as long as the road is structurally sound, then we should be good, right? Like wherever we're building.
Johnson of Papa John's is not looking at it. He's all about his bottom line, JJ. Just get that pizza, give me the money.
That's fair.
I blame general contractors. They see it and they say, I'm not fixing that. And they don't put on the report.
That's fair as well.
I spent enough time around some GCs who are like, nope, not my job.
Yep. As long as it's not going to.
That's someone else's problem.
Yeah, I like that.
Someone else will find it later.
I like that. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I will say this, the things that we're talking about, so like these things that are very National Treasure, very, very Indiana Jones, like that's a lot of the stuff. Like, so this movie's been shit on by critics. Like, it's crazy. Like, and this is part of the reason, I've said it a couple of times, this is part of the reason that I wanted to do this podcast, because so many times, you read something from a critic about the movie being not good, and then I go watch it, and I'm like, what the fuck are you watching? Like, this was fun. This was entertaining. It was a good movie.
Hey, it got a 40%. Oof.
Dude, I'm telling you, they have shit on this movie because they're like, well, it's National Treasure meets Indiana Jones, and it leans on all these tropes. And I'm like, who fucking cares if it's fun and it's entertaining? But I say that, and, we've at least, Alec, I'm sure you'll get there, but Mattson and I can honestly say we've become kind of that person at times. Like,
yeah, we have.
I've done that where I've shit on a movie and then I think about it and I'm like, why am I actually shitting on this movie? Like, it was actually probably pretty fun 5 years ago or 2 years ago before we started this podcast. And now, we look at it and I'm like, well, I'm kind of a critic. And so my goal is, as we move forward in the next year of this podcast, is to not be that guy as much as I have been, because this movie was entertaining. It was fun. And so I think it's really sad that the critics are shitting on it so much, because it's good. It's worth watching. And if you're just looking to go have a good time and not have to worry about what's going on in the world, because it's a shitty time right now in a lot of ways. So just go have fun, man.
Yeah, JJ, I'm glad you brought up what I wanted from the spoiler-free. It's funny you mentioned that, because I mentioned on this podcast a few times, I'm now someone in like my family, especially a lot of my nephews that are up here, like my sister that's up here as well. They always ask me like, do you like the movies that you watch? And when I see a movie with them, she's the one with the Dalmatians. What's that movie called? Cruella. Where they is one of the best examples. Everybody loved it in that room, and I liked it, but I was finding ways to knock it down than just to enjoy it. And that's what I think Jage is getting at, and what I've experienced things for 2 years now, is it's really easy to that movie. Before we would have done this podcast, I'd be like, yeah, great movie. It was fun, entertained, really liked it. But then we sit here and you listen to us enough, you probably get it too. You become trained to find ways to knock things down. It's funny because I don't live my life that way. I'm a very positive person. I'm someone that looks for the best in people, sometimes to a fault for me. But I found doing this podcast with these movies and being a critic, it's the other way. I'm looking for reasons to not give a movie a 5 or a 4.5 or because you want to protect your opinion of what like an upper echelon movie is. But then it's to the detriment of what happened to just going to the movie theater and having a good time and being like, I like the movie, and not having to think about, was the acting good? Was the music good? Was the CGI good? And you can think about those things, but don't maybe sometimes get as in depth and just ask yourself, when I left that theater or when I left my couch, having watched that thing, what was my base opinion? Like, how did I feel? And I think for me, that's more of what I would like to get back to. And that's what Uncharted was for me. Like, is it the best thing I've ever seen? Are there some serious gaps in some of the plot and some of the liberties they took? Sure. But at the end of the day, 2 actors carried this movie, and that's why I liked it. And that's why I'd probably go see it again. So I think it's, at least for JJ and I, something that I think we want to try and do as well is just, I always mention the common folk. I want to remember, I want to keep my ratings to, if I was to go see this movie with my friends or people just go out and say, are they going to like it or not? And it's more simplistic than I need to do for my past rating. So I'm going to try and do that. Because I think the problem with these critics is they're doing what's happened now where they're getting nitty picky about all these things. But then all the movies that they end up liking for Oscars present these really well developed plot and story, but usually it's super sad. And it's these movies, actors doing some of these indie stuff that it's not as enjoyable to watch. It's not as fun. It's not as uplifting, whatever it is. And they just become really heavy and weighty and slow and kind of boring. But does that mean does that equate to a great movie? Or can it just be something fun and lighthearted that you leave and like, oh, wow, I feel refreshed. I love the movies. It expanded my imagination and my horizons. So now that was a long rant basically to say, I'm going to try and do better as well, JJ, to remember the common folk and just really determine what did my gut say about that movie and not have to list out everything else as well.
Yeah.
Critics suck. I'm convinced that they are out for clout. And if you kind of take that contrary position, that's the quickest way, especially in the digital age that we live, to get that attention, right? It's all PR and how much you can get, your name and your face out there. Yeah, this was a great movie. I don't know why they're shitting on it, because it was fun. I mean, and I think it was fun because there isn't that underlying theme that every movie seems to have going for it. This was just a treasure hunt film. There was no deeper meaning to it. They set up for a sequel, but they don't need to make one if they don't want to. They finished the story. It was a great story. If they want to continue it, that's on them if they make that decision. But there's no cliffhanger, no underlying story. JJ talked a bit about this. They're not building a universe. They left it open that if they wanted to, they could, but they're not, committing to a universe aspect. This was just, we made a great bunch of games. We think we can make it into a movie. Let's go have fun and let's make it. And the critics are just going to be like, well, I don't think this is lighting and cinematography. And, they can throw out a bunch of movie words all they want to, but it was fun. It was great. I think it's the #1 movie in America right now.
Probably.
Or it had the biggest opening weekend since something or another.
I mean, just getting Tom Holland in your movie alone and then sprinkling a Mark Wahlberg.
Right.
It's going to drive some people to the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's doing well. People want to see it. It's great thing that they did. And the critics are just going to, take a huge fat steaming dump on it because they need the recognition. They have to remain a film critic.
Yeah. I
can't imagine that's an easy, title to maintain.
Yeah.
This is the Stephen A. Smith for a Mattson reference.
Exactly.
From ESPN, when they have their shows and they're talking, going back and forth, someone always takes up a position to just argue it. And that's what film critics are, in my opinion.
I agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I get frustrated because, I get that there's, an art form. In movies are art, and, a lot of these people work really hard to make films and stuff. But I also think that we lose sight of it takes just as much talent, in my opinion, to make a movie that doesn't have a deeper meaning and is still entertaining and fun as it does to make a movie that actually proves a point and tries to teach a lesson or, has some big life lesson in it or whatever you want to say. I just think we shit on so many, that movie had no point. Well, who cares? The point was that I went and forgot about all my issues for a couple hours and the fact that I got to go to work on Monday and I got to make a living and I got to pay my house bill and my rent and my food.
It gets you to dream.
Yeah, it just lets me go and enjoy myself. And that, this movie really was that for me. I was like, And it was a realization of probably 6 months ago, if we'd have done this movie, I'd have been a little harsher on it. But I had so much fun, and I was like, I'm going to lean into that when I review it, as opposed to, wow, I could have been better in this. Because there was some CGI issues at the beginning, too. Like, when he was swinging from those crates, I was like, that looks fake. But I didn't care because, like, again, I was having fun. And I think that's where I want to lean into again. So,
oh, you can forgive some of that where, like, She Does Tomorrow, where the CGI was just, I mean, that's where I'll call that stuff, because it was so bad, where they could have spent $30,000 more and it looked better. But the CGI didn't detract from it. It's something I know. So I was like, could have done a little bit better, but whatever. It was fun. Like, and it moved right on. And Tom Holland, you just like, all right, whatever. Keep going.
I liked it.
For me, it was the fact that it's a video game. So I didn't really care about the CGI, because I was like, well, it's a video game. So well, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't really hang Tom Holland outside of a cargo airplane.
Yep.
So for me, I was like, oh yeah, terrible CGI. But again,
if it was Tom Cruise, he would have requested to
no shit. Well, and I thought the same thing too. Like, I saw it and I was like, that was shitty CGI. Oh, it looked like a video game. We're good. I left it alone. Mm-hmm. So, all right, should we rate this thing?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll go first. I had a really good time watching this movie. And I think for me, like, I left the theater thinking Casey would hate it, because Casey, she enjoys like a deeper meaning movie, and she was like, but when she came out and she goes, that was a fun movie, or that was a cute movie, I was like, shit, she's right. It was cute. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was enjoyable. And I think that's the key to this movie, is just go, and don't go looking for some mind-blowing, like, ooh, it looks great and it's a high level. It's just fun. Just go and enjoy yourself. Live up the massive amounts of charisma that is just oozing off the screen between all these actors, and even the villain, who's just this, you just love Antonio Banderas for as long as he's in this movie, and just enjoy it and go with what it is. And the fact that they drop a boat on some chick's head, like, it's just fun. I mean, and if you go in with that, I think you'll really enjoy this movie. I will watch this movie again. I'm going to give it a 4, because I just had a great time. Way higher than I thought I would rate it, but the more we talk about it, I had a lot of fun with it, and it's something that I'll watch again. So I'm giving it a 4. Alec.
Yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. Like I said earlier, I went with an Uncharted veteran, right? Someone who really knows the Uncharted games. And so Oceana was picking out all of the little Easter eggs, right? The Nolan North, she knew who Nolan North was. Tom Holland opens up a case, and there's a Naughty Dog sticker in the case. So all these little Easter eggs that keep happening. And then, like I said, I haven't played the games, but I've watched her play the games. And so Nathan Drake has got his signature, hip holster or shoulder holster type thing. And the way that Tom Holland gets that right at the end is a nice little bow on the top. And so I think this movie was really well done, really well made. And then, Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg and that chemistry we've been talking about, it felt like they were just having fun on the screen. And Tom Holland was making old jokes, Mark Wahlberg was making short jokes. But it wasn't a central part of the movie. It was just an added little bonus that was thrown in. So I'm going to give it a 4 as well. I'm watching this movie again. I think Oceana's seen it 4 times now, and we'll probably see it another couple of times in theaters before it hits streaming. So it's a great movie, and I mean, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'll definitely see it again.
All right, Mattson, finish us off here.
Yeah, I've been hovering between a 3.5 and a 4. I've been thinking about this a lot, but I feel confident giving it a 4. I think there's definite reasons. I'm trying to kind of recalibrate myself, and you guys have already taken the words out of my mouth. I've already said it. This movie was fun. This movie looks good on screen. I think this movie looks good in a theater. If you still have an opportunity to go see it in a theater, go do it. Like, it's visually appealing. The acting holds up. The jokes as you're sitting there with your friends, munching on some popcorn and such. It's worth the investment, worth the time, the money to go experience what a movie is in experience, that you go have some fun with your friends, your girlfriend, your family, and you're going to walk out of that. You're going to laugh. You're going to bring up some of those jokes again about the prom joke in the bar and the chemistry between Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. It's what I like about a movie. It's fun. It's simple. It's lighthearted, but it works really well. It's not something that's going to teach you maybe a ton of life lessons. And like Jay just said earlier, Not every movie needs to be that. Some movies are good for it, but sometimes you just want to go and experience an adventure that is never going to happen for you. You're not going to be in a helicopter driving boats that are massive and super heavy in Thailand, but you can see someone else do it and be like, damn, that would be really cool if my life was a video game. And I think that's what you're going to walk away knowing. And I think the best compliment I can give this movie is if I didn't know it was titled Uncharted, but it had Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg and it had everything was the same. This would have been a good movie. If anything, I probably would have had a little bit higher expectations because I wouldn't have been worried about the video game adaptation. And I think that's the highest compliment you can give this movie is it's just a good movie, but it happens to be from a video game universe. And I can't wait to see the next one.
Yeah, me too. Cool. There it is. Pretty high scores. Pretty excited about that. We've had fun reviewing it, had fun watching it. Next week, oh boy. Moonfall. Enjoy that review. Ugh. God, we go from top marks to not so top marks. Anyway.
So we can fill our audience in. We recorded that one before this one, just so you all know, and it was very refreshing to end on a high note.
Yes. I'm glad we recorded this one after that because that one was hard to record for. It was hard to watch. Anyway, yeah, so check out Moonfall next week. Yeah, enjoy this one. Go watch this movie. Mattson, tell everyone where they can find us.
Yeah, you can check us out on social media, especially Facebook and Instagram. Check us out at whatsourverdict.com to see what's upcoming, or be a super fan like Alec and leave us a comment on our awesome episodes. And yeah, just leave us a 5-star review like JJ talked about at the beginning on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, wherever you listen to us. And then make sure to check out our spoiler freeze as well on YouTube.
Yeehaw. Alec, it's always fun having you join us. Looking forward to you being part of the team moving forward. Excited to get your opinions.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm super happy to be on the team going forward. It's going to be fun. I'm going to bring you guys back to the light. Make sure you guys aren't giving those review because the camera angle was wrong or the aspect ratio of the movie was messed up.
Hey, it bothered the hell out of me. That one I may not be able to forgive. That just Zack Snyder, if you ever listen to this, F you, dude. I still hate you for that. Just make it fit my freaking TV screen. It's not hard to do.
Oh, that's funny. I love it. Good times. All right. With that, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Cinemagic out.